You've already been offered a coffee.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Here we are.
There we go.
He's all right, darling. He's all right.
Yeah. He's
Good little Aussie.
Hey, we've finally got spectators. This is
Well, he's
fantastic.
actually not an Aussie. He's born here, but he's Kiwi.
Oh,
He's an Aussie.
okay. Oh.
That's
There we
all
go.
enough.
What are you guys doing? Can I be?
We're doing a show on horse racing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a weekly show. It's been going 5.5 years.
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So, as in, you're tipping who's best to...
We're going through a review of Saturday's races. It's an email-based show. It's on the internet. Called racingrant.com.au.
Okay, I don't know. I'm going to fall through.
There you go. Another fan of ours. Anyway, welcome, guys. Here we are.
TheRant.
TheRant ran on Monday. Beautiful Monday morning. And a great weekend's racing, you got to say.
Oh, I suppose it was, yes. We had Randwick on Saturday, Hawkesbury on Sunday, so I always find after the Sunday meeting that I've sort of lost a bit of focus for Saturday.
Yeah, me too, because I was at the Sunday meeting and it was exhausting.
How'd you go?
I won. It was Saturday. It was, even the security bloke chuckled to me, the wind made everyone completely mad.
It was insane out there.
It was just drunks everywhere. ATC, come on. I'm not bagging you anymore because I know you cater for people who want to drink when they come to races, but we've got to keep them out of the betting ring.
Yeah.
And not for me, because they're a complete punish. They don't bet.
You know, the problem is that that's not seen as the betting ring. Like, we're in the grandstand, and it's not a designated betting ring. It's just, oh shit, we needed to put the bookies somewhere. We better plonk them in.
Well,
here.
I think we need to just put a yellow line, like a square rectangle. You know, we're taking out what 60 yards by 40 yards, and just saying this is for betting here, and come in, but you just can't come in with a drink. We can't have one girl with her legs up in the air, like tiniest skirt on, blind drunk. You can see her lunch. Like honestly, it's just like it's not a it's a stock market.
The thing is, I'm not a big fan of the security out there, and you want to give them even more power. That's the problem.
I'm not a fan of security either. I hate them. I think they're the lowest. But I think
you actually need it to be like another members enclosure where you've actually got someone like letting you in.
Well, not necessarily letting you in, but just a line with one bloke walking up and back and just saying, sorry guys, a drink's out of this area. I think after a few meetings you'll train people up. Won't be forever.
I can't see you getting any traction with ATC. They're just not interested. Why would they care?
Because
we care. But
It's
why
only
would
going to
they
happen
care?
on windy days, but isn't it? Because that's why they're
Well,
all in there.
what about rainy days?
Oh, okay,
rainy
rainy
days.
days.
Rainy days they come in too.
Yeah.
But they're fucking blind drunk. Bloke picked a fight with me.
When you're trying to get a bet on? Or you
No, I was just
bump
down in the
past them?
machine because they all walk past us and they go, mate, it's a dead end, but every single person checks. Because most people in life are complete wombats. Oh, mate, it's a dead end, and they check. You know, people...
They don't trust you, yeah. But you would have been sober too, and he would have been drunk. So that's a big event.
He would have been easy pickings.
Yeah.
I would have fucking loved it. But Baldy ran away. Hi, Baldy.
So, Glenn, do you think it was hard to win on Saturday?
Hard to win?
Yeah.
It's always hard to win, Mark.
Saturdays are hard to win, aren't they?
Racing's a hard game. It's hard to win.
Saturdays are the hardest. You're playing against the best people. The market seems quite mature
And pure.
So you're not playing with a lot of margin on a Saturday.
Also, the fields tend to be made up of, it's a jumble. It's not when you go to the provincials. There's 3 horses that can win the can't.
Yeah.
Saturdays tend to be, full of horses that are capable. They're all there because they're capable.
Well, someone like me can give someone like Gorge Tip, Lima Straight, no hope, and I get it beat. But did I really win getting it beat?
Well, Gorge gets the points.
Oh, obviously, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Gorge gets the points. It's $11 this race, like a 7-2 chance.
Yeah.
Just happened to get a beat. But like, it didn't get distance.
It doesn't feel any good. I walk away from that going, I got that wrong.
It was fucking home.
Yeah.
It was Cath. Yeah. What a great game.
It is a great game because there's something for everybody, but there's a hell of a lot for C. Waller.
Well, he's the best.
He finally cracked that early. Well, I know he's trained an early season 2-year-old winner before, but the filly in the first, she went particularly well.
Straight on the bunny, went like a rocket.
She won the race that Conchita won last year in this very similar fashion, wasn't it? And in that race, Star Turn, who is now well better, just struggled the same way that this male did. It's a lesson for early 2-year-olds that, fillies that do everything right can beat colts that just don't know what they're doing yet.
So you're saying Showtime is...
Oh, in 12 months' time, Louisa will be finishing 12 lengths behind Showtime.
Yeah. Well, that's maybe what you got to look for with Waller with these 2-year-olds, because he's not an aggressive trialer, but that was an aggressive trial, wasn't it? Pinged the lids, went to the front, professional.
But
I
I'm
think
looking
they're
at
the ones
trials
that are
like
looking
that at home from fillies going, yuck.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Waller, so it's a point of difference, isn't it? Because he doesn't normally try his horses like that.
Yeah. I never look at Waller's home trials going yuck, because I'm never normally asked to make that comparison. They're often usually the second tier or below trainers. If they're, I definitely black mark fillies trialing at home, but Gord makes the point about Waller. Is there anything else to say about the 2-year-old race, mate?
I thought Jim and Greg Lee's horse. It was an honourable mention. Mr. Start. It looked like a really advanced second trial, and I thought it did a good job there on Saturday, beating Severance home.
And Bjorn's horse, you mentioned to me after the race.
Well, it ran 5th, but it worked home well last.
It lacked experience.
You lacked whatever it is.
That's a difficult situation. 1,000 metres with the wind behind them. It's hard to it's quite an advantageous situation for a leader.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we got to see another leader home, which immediately starts getting in your brain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like you see the first 2 leaders lead all the way, and it's like, oh, especially.
You're never going to hear me say 1,100 to 1,400 is a minus ever again, because I'm so sick of thinking it, because they win. Leaders win.
I disagree. Look, 1,100 to 1,400 is difficult, but if you've got the right circumstances, that horse is from a good yard, and he controlled the pace.
It's a top horse. It's top.
So where's
horse.
Nicolan's going then? Sandown Guineas.
Well, I think that at the end of the carnival, maybe to Melbourne, and to me, it looks like in a year from now, 14 months from now, we're going to say, "Oh, Nicolan's got a great chance in a Villiers," and that type of style horse, But where it goes, will it get to a mile? There's going to be a Hawkesbury mile winner of that type of horse. I don't know. I'm not saying it's top shelf, but it's a good horse.
So if it had gone into that race at 1,400 first up the other day, but it had 3 barrier trials, 1050, 1100, what would you have been thinking?
I would have probably had a good chance.
It's interesting, isn't it? We're going a race from 1100 to 1400 is up too far in distance, but a trial over 1100 for 1400 metre resumption is fine.
Well, that's what I just said to you. You're never going to hear them words out of my mouth again.
Well, what is too far then? What is too far up in distance?
I don't know.
Well, I just don't think
1,600 to 2,400, is that too far?
You can't have a blanket rule. It's just like you got to say, okay, I'm going to ask the question here because this is provoking my interest, but I'm going to consider the circumstances.
Well, you've got to what you've got to consider is the horse an 1,100 metre horse. You know what I mean? If you can stamp it as a 1,000, 1,100 metre horse, then up to 1,400 is obviously a no-go. But that thing won its first start over 1,100 the previous start. Had a bit of a springboard, was lightly raced, had run in quite well over 1,200s the previous preparation.
Well, it runs second
maybe,
stern.
So you're not. That's a horse with some scope, and it's unknown at 1,400s. While a horse that's actually had more starts and maybe is a little bit older when it does the 11 to 1,400, will then pen it.
Yeah. It's a bit. I think that's a good suggestion. That exposed horses.
So I heard a good story about this horse. It's just a story, but it's a good story. You'll like it, and it's more of a triple tick for Peter Snowden. Is Peter the dad? Peter and Paul. Peter. Kevin Moses used to train this horse, and I believe he's got a share in it, so whatever that means. And the horse was entered for next Wednesday. Yep. And it was in Saturday, Peter put it in Saturday, but it was in Wednesday. And for whatever reason, during last week, Moses contacted, what are you fucking doing with that horse on Saturday? It's got to stick to that Wednesday race, you don't want it. Oh, hang on, no. Just hang off to it. No, Moses was saying, why aren't you racing that horse on Saturday? Why are you fucking around with next Wednesday? Blah, 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 blah. And they've had a bit of a jostle, you're not training the horse anymore, and took it on board and then raced it on the Saturday.
So, what?
So they listened to the owner.
Kev was saying, I'll take this horse off you if you don't race it on Saturday.
No, why are you aiming at that Wednesday race? This can win on a Saturday, and
get your act together.
Get your act together, and the bloke's taking it on board and then race on the Saturday. Whereas a lot of trainers would scratch it immediately from the Saturday and race on the Wednesday.
Yeah, and assert their,
Yeah, that's what I mean. So Peter's taking it on board. Obviously, he's had some sort of a grizzle with Kev, and then
Well, I think, also this was going to be Kev's headline horse for the year, and then he got put out for Cobalt, so Jimmy Lee had to take over the training of the horse for its first start, and then Snowden's got it. Anyway,
Top horse.
What'd you say? Oh, look, I think the second horse is a really good horse as well. Like, he tried really hard, and the third horse, and the second horse ran particularly well in an unsuitable race. So
really good job.
coming through was very, very firm in the betting. I couldn't believe how firm in the betting it was.
You'd lay 480 at one stage.
But you could just see the way that it got to the line in a race that that it wasn't run to suit. That you go, I just went, wow, this is a progressive horse.
And what are we saying about Kobe Jennings? He's doing a very professional job.
Hot
at the
little
moment.
rider.
Yeah.
Claims 2, does a good job.
He's the best at the appearances. Clearly.
He sure is. He sure is. So the filly fell over in Binzabella. Pecans is probably at a level. Octavian Augustus unwanted and ran accordingly.
Pulled out to win at the 300, then went like a apple pie. Paraded really well.
After
proved.
that race, I was sure there was significant track bias.
So was I.
'Cause the way Octavian Augustus looked at about the 350 metre mark, I
Yeah.
thought this is going to do something. When it did nothing, I thought, well, maybe this.
And then I think the riders thought they're going into race 3, and Tara Song,
Yeah.
written inch perfect, happened to be the last man standing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, you made the point in relation to race 3 that Signpost was chewed up, like totally chewed up, and he was well spotted in betting because there was a perception of a leader bias.
Yeah.
Well, I said it was chewed up on Friday in the previous show, and then tipped him on top in the Mounting Our Mail.
And by the way, how strong in the betting was Tower of Song as well? For a horse like
$8
that,
to $5.50.
yeah, like
Didn't surprise me.
Well, look, we spoke on the previous show about how Balmain Boy had every hope at Rosehill and Tower of Song didn't.
Yeah.
I'd grown a bit sick of Tower of Song. I know Glenn, you're one of its greatest fans.
Me.
And look, punters were going, well, Balmain Boy, yeah. And they'd already given up on Signposted, as I hadn't. So they had to go to sea, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they did.
Because all the Waller horses were just getting ready. I mean, Costaline looks ready now.
Yeah, ready to go.
Yeah, he's
Hippocarcass, I don't know what to make of it.
well, it wasn't a suitable race for him. He's back on the inside at 1600. He wants 2400, doesn't he?
Maybe.
So that then fed us into the mile of the country race where the
Mentioned
horse.
on the show, it'd be exciting to see this David Smith win another race, and it was. Jumping up and down he was.
Look, the horse showed a turn of foot, showed a sparkle in relation to this grade last time, and managed to get the job done again. Mysticism. Look, I heard Kurt Goldman, who I know relationally, on the radio on Saturday morning. He was talking about the fact that he'd noticed that this horse had raced best fresh and all this sort of behaviour. But the fact is that if you're going to take your horse, if your horses only win at Goulburn, or they only win at the Gold Coast, or they only win at the Sunshine Coast, it's hard to set them up to win a race in town, isn't it?
It is, yep.
it is a highway.
I know it's a highway.
Can I make an honourable mention this race to the in-play punter who just kept leaving it there, and very, very well done. One by one it was in the run, tracking I thought the whole way Grand Rouge, and every time he put up $14.50 for $100 I kept taking it, and then he put it back up and I took it again and again and again. I think I took it 5 times. I got 7,500 in the run, presented to win at the 250 metre mark, and ran 7th.
Gee, he did a lot of work early, Glenn. I obviously was paying close attention to Grand Rouge. In the early stages of the run, I went, you can't win.
Well, that's what this person did, getting $400 or $500 off of me. I really thought it was getting a nice soft truck.
No, see, the thing was that he went forward, so he's already got the horse forward, and then he has to try and restrain it to try and get in. I don't like that at all. No. That's like you've told the horse to go, and then you've told the horse to pull up. No good.
It's a definite.
Anyway,
sign.
Too good for me.
Oh, by the way, it's just you've really got horses that win keep on winning, don't they? Distinctive look, one last start in a sort of similar standard highway race and just comes out and does it again.
So
nice decision by Kobe Jennings.
So with Denper in the last,
aggressive. Yeah.
You guys were telling me on the Friday coming off a PR. I said, look, it won.
Yeah.
It won.
You've got it,
look,
yeah.
and
Mare off the win at the track.
Yeah.
At the distance.
And when you consider that 3 weeks ago, Denper was 3 times the price of Per Brigadier and Rise, who got no opportunity whatsoever, and then you watch them race side by side on Saturday.
See you later.
Just went.
See you later.
It's
winners win.
It's dead set head wrecking.
Winners win. Now we get to the
You
staying
really got to
race.
simplify it, don't you? Sometimes you just overthink things. You know?
How did my Olympic Academy not get home, boys?
Right.
Well, it's a very good tip, Glenn. Now, Broadside was heavily backed in the race. They wanted to take two.
But if all the people
wanted
to
take
fuck me,
250.
Adam Hieronymus had to just give it to me.
Well, if you notice on the line, Broadside is running away from Olympic
I
Academy.
agree with that.
So
Olympic Academy did an Olympic Academy and showed its true, like...
well, he's of a level. Like Broadside is a progressive horse, and we'll go on from here.
Yeah.
That's a good win.
Olympic Academy, I think it was a great tip because I had something just to place on. So,
That's a nice place, man.
thank you.
Do we have to talk much about that race?
No, that's
The
it.
next race,
Although I
the
must
next
say,
race is a bit ordinary to talk about too.
Well, I want to ask you about Thunder Fantasy.
Right.
Does it look like a serious horse or not?
It's okay. I must admit I went over it a bit quick.
Anthony Cummings has done that a lot. He won this race with Omen coming back from Hong Kong. Remember I mentioned on the Friday show?
A lot of the bookies got stripped on this race out in the front in the garden things. They all got beaten badly because punters out there like having 10 and 20 each way, number one.
Yeah.
They got hammered, some blokes like Woodcock, and they did thousands on the race.
Well, look, big hello to Chris Waller, who I was objecting to the fact that Religify was in it for a 1,000-metre race and then resumed in a 1,400-metre race. It ran as well as it possibly could.
It looked particularly well.
But if it had resumed at a shorter distance, it would have won.
Look, the point being that he gets his horses right. Oh, he's the best. His Majesty, is there anywhere for him to go?
No, I think this campaign's he's completely exposed.
Yeah, he's flatline. He's plateaued.
Yep.
And the horse that I thought would win the race that went particularly poorly, Handfast, it just
Tucked up underneath him and then just gave nothing. There was nothing there.
I thought there was a bit of a lack of substance to its form. It's fourth and it's third. I don't know whether they were that cracking a run.
Well, they probably weren't, though. The Bill Ritchie is potentially a dodgy race. Everyone's talked about what a bad form race the Sir Bacchus race was. Maybe you're right.
Well, Ultimate DF took the race out.
Ultimate DF won that race, then DF won the next race, Yankee Rose, we spoke about on Friday. 3 lots of DF coming into it. There it was. D. Yendall gets the job done.
So Glenn, you left it out of your numbers.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it. Terry X-Copper didn't like it. But
The only thing I gave was
did we have any aces to go with?
As it's turned out, no.
Isn't it a situation where you're trying to get a horse beat and you're trying to get her beat with horses that just aren't good enough?
I'd agree with that. And I think the sooner she retires, the better off will be for me.
Its run not on Saturday that start before against Global Glamour was a fantastic run. I think it ran brilliantly against the bite. So I was against the horse because of the Sunshine Coast sort of situation, but I was actually half for it on Saturday because I thought it was the best run last start coming into this race. And then Global Glamour wins in Melbourne and solidly franks the form.
Franks.
Yeah. Well, look. Is there an so we've seen Yankee Rose, we've seen Dean Yendall, which I think is even more important, and
I had a good yak to him. I had a good yak to him in the parade ring. I said, I thought you were a lot younger. He said, I'm young. I said, well, you look awful. He looked like he was 50.
So this is the treatment that Glenn gives to every multimillionaire. It's like, okay, you're a multimillionaire, I'm not, but you look awful.
Yeah, and we both sleep in the same sort of bed, and I go to the beach every day, and you don't. And I drive a Ford, you drive a Merc. I get there quicker. I'm a poser.
You're a poser. What the poser did say on Friday on the previous show was completely relevant to, you could not have said anything better about the fact that D. Yendall was booked to ride that horse. That I will not lay him in the run because he keeps coming.
Well, because on my days off, I bet in the run he gets to all these out-of-town Melbourne tracks, and him and Linda Meach win race after race according to their rides. There's just... I go to my Betfair page before I go from Evolution. I go, what's D. Yendall and Linda Meach on? 1 and 6. I don't give a fuck. I'm not laying 1 and 6 in the run. And I win it. They win a lot of races. So D. Yendall and Linda Meach. Linda Meach rides well above her weight. She's always on $10 and $14 chance. They're fucking lob. I'm not clever enough to back her. I can't do that. But I protect myself from not laying her in the run.
I think we're going to see a lot more of Dean Yendall because he's a lightweight jockey, isn't he? So he'll be go-to in some of the handicaps.
Well, he's a gun.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely, he's got everyone's attention now, hasn't he? The mare's race I thought was interesting because we had a situation of...
Hey, you won $1 billion off me.
Who was on?
I was hoping it was just double or nothing.
Well, who was it?
Double check.
I was on Dixie, you were on Lady of the Phone?
I was on Extensible.
Oh yeah, Todd PR.
Well, look, Chris Reith, who I like as a rider, but we've been faced with situations in the last few weeks where if the big jocks are away, Chris Reith gets the big gig, and he just hasn't been delivering.
Whereas T. Hanglin has been delivering.
Yeah, T. Anglin like riding super. Chris Reith, you know, you take Bishin off extensible, and unfortunately you've suffered badly there, haven't you? Because in the run, T. Clark,
beautiful.
yes, but T. Clark had a complete insight into what he was going to do there, and he rode his perfectly. C. Reith rode like a second string jockey. Just,
I
you
think
know,
C. Reith,
here I am. Oh, this is what I got to do. I just got to do this.
I think C. Reith was playing funny buggers with Dixie Blossoms, really trying to get it back onto the inside. And then it all panned out for Dixie Blossoms by getting the run
split
through while Extensible had to go 35 wide. I think maybe he was thinking too much, Christian Reith there. But, anyway, you notice back when he was trying to...
I know what you're saying. You know what you're saying. I'm not going to let you get a run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree with
When
that.
they're all away, when all the big ones are away, and I suppose the first jockey you look to is B. Abdullah, even though I look to him when the big guns are here, but let's just say if he's in Sydney, because he's the sort of bloke that probably stays in Sydney, and then you look to T. Clark, and then you look to Ty England, and you really don't need to look too much far. They're your three big whips. I mean, they're good enough riders when everyone's in town, but like, they win races.
Yep.
Look at the last three races here. Ty Egland, D. Yendall, Tim Clark, Ty England.
Yep.
They're the last four races. I didn't even know that.
You know, they ride fantastic in the provincials too.
Well, they just own the provincials that day, and you know, you can't beat them.
Here's the winners on Saturday. 2-year-old Glenn Schofield. Well, you got good Glenn, and good Glenn's a freak. Good Glenn's great Glenn. Then you got Kobe Jennings, hot rider. B. Abdullah, Kobe Jennings, Adam Hieronymus, T. England, D. Yendall, Tim Clark, T. England. How easy is punting? When you look at those riders, you go, well...
Yeah, but it's
Why am I
like,
bothering?
when you do the form, you just got to give them that extra positive tip.
You got to put a tick next to their name, and you got to focus on it because it means something.
Anyway, you've done the form looking at jockeys. We don't normally do the form looking at jockeys, you know.
I'm looking at them now.
We're hoping that the horse we like has one of those jockeys, but we tend to do the form the other way.
And then maybe if you do the form, then you look at the jockey, and if it doesn't have one of those jockeys, you say no bet.
I'm just looking at
the horses that you find and like and want to back. If they have one of the good jockeys, then you bet. If they don't take any action in the race.
Guy just keeps giving pearls out.
I'm just going to all the second riders on the day. So it goes Tommy Berry, Jason, I'm still asleep, Collin, who I still like. You got Bad Glenn, Jason Collin. T. Aglin finishes second on Living Caddy. Why can you do me a favour, Ty? Then you got Abdullah, Tommy Berry again, and Kathy O'Hara. What a great game it is. Let's get to the last, Demper.
Well, we've already talked about it, really, haven't we? It came off the win. Was quite impressive late, wasn't it?
Very impressive. Really charged through the line. I think it's in for a great prep. I can't imagine getting beaten next start.
What did you make of Rocks for the Ladies after the spell?
It came in terrific order. It looks good. I thought it got out to $16 on the fair there at one stage, which is definitely a bet, and raced particularly well. Now, boys, I'm going to have to do a midweek update, especially this time of year, because I've seen some nice horses off the tapes, or if I'm at the track, whatever. There's a horse that Abdullah rode at Gosford, number one. What's it called? Distinction or?
Destruction or?
One at Gosford. One I made the other day. Gosford by 5. Just it was completely unwanted. $5.50, $8. Gun just sat there, dead set. Put a 1 by 10. It'll just win anywhere next start. And then from the tapes on Saturday, there was a horse that won on Saturday, Kembla.
The last round?
Sat wide the whole way and then just pissed off.
Yeah, Gay's horse that Gord liked at the midweeks.
What's it called?
So it's out of Side Nazar, or by Side Nazar.
Sendazar?
Sendazar, yeah. I backed it on the Wednesday race.
It was fucking amazing.
It'll just win anywhere next start. There's 2 from during the week out in the bush, and they'll just win next start. Doesn't matter where they win, they'll win. They'll probably go to Wednesday races in the next week or 2, and they won't win, they'll piss him.
And how good's Mark? Found it on top.
Best bet of the day. Best bet of the day, and because I like Peking, right?
Right.
Peking for Gay, he knows what he's doing.
Peking duck or Peking? Peking.
And he got the ball home somehow, but he was so focused, like jumped 2 in front. Yeah. That's what you want to see on Gay's horses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Peking knows what he's doing. So, but he injured himself in race 7, and I hear Luke Marlowe going, Peking's had to be replaced on this horse, and I'm going, holy shit. Because I really wanted Peking to ride Side Nazar. And G. Buckley is a journeyman, he rides lots of winners, but not for me.
No.
And he tends to be a flaffer, he's just you know, you don't sort of rely on him to be in a particular position.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter with that horse. She was, she absolutely.
Fucking hell, punters, you got no idea to the left
Hey,
here.
well, everywhere we go, there's just women everywhere, isn't it? Out at the races on Saturday.
Just have
Here in
to
the
fucking-
park.
We'll have to go to I'll have to go to I'll have to.
So we're going to a break now. Is that the end
Yeah,
of part
I think
one?
we're headed
need a
a
water.
break.
That's the end of part one.